From Sport Wanganui in regards to my coaching deliverance, both on a practical element and in a theory element. So what Sport Wanganui have come is they've helped me with my coach education that I've done within Wanganui. They've also come in and done some individual work with me as a coach myself on a practical element for my deliverance of training sessions, game day deliverance, and my coaching qualifications deliverance that I've done to the public in Wanganui. Level 1 and the senior level 1.
Yeah.
And what I got was some good assistance in them deliverance with our four-cornered model, which has a lot of aspect on the physical literacy program that we do with that. And I got a lot of good support from Sport Wanganui with people who had good detailed qualifications in regards to that to help me deliver that coaching qualification to the best level that it could be. I was coaching, then I had Sport Wanganui would come down as a coach. Educator would come and watch me coach with a clipboard, with a piece of paper, take some notes and give some feedback. Then what we would do is we would then meet sort of a couple of days after and go through my deliverance of the session, and there was just some feedback given to me which I felt was really beneficial for me going forward, because it was good to see for someone to give me some feedback as to what I was actually doing on the grass, instead of it just being coming from my head and just having the self-reflection from there. A big thing that I took away from the 12 months was the term empowering your players. So what I got was a lot of good support in the best way to do that for a player. So very much with my coaching style, a lot of it would be very much sort of a command and coaching players sort of to, giving them the information, whereas what I actually got encouraged to me from Sport Wanganui was actually to get the player to bring the information to me, to give me the answer, which in a way would empower the player to make them feel a lot better about themselves, make them feel a lot more, get them to learn without just being told that way. So I think that was a big thing I took away. As well, there was a couple of little examples where it was, for me to think about my positioning. So sometimes as a coach, in the training session, I would be stood in the middle of my players, but some people with the back towards me, not everyone in front of me, which what was actually encouraged to me was just to think about your positioning on the pitch, and also to be stood still and not walking around whilst I was coaching. And that was really what I was wanting to get out of this, was just a little thing, something to pick up, or just a couple of little key points, just to make sure that when I do deliver a coaching session, I can make it as effective as I can. And I feel these couple of little interventions that I've had have been really beneficial for me to get the basics of coaching. One again, which has been quite encouraged, was to understand the importance of when you intervene, and to make sure that they are, it's not just a continued thing, to make sure that when I do look to come intervene, that it's at a suitable time. Also to think about the tone and style of my voice, so making sure that it's whilst you're still trying to get a point over, that it's not going to overwhelm the player that you're talking to. And I think that was something that we had a big chat about, which again is something that I think was really important for me as a coach, to sort of to develop how I, in a way, behave on a match day. That I got from that day, which as well, I think if I was to do that again, if we were able to do something like that, I'd be probably a little bit more open and a little bit more welcoming to you coming into our situations. I remember at the time, what would have been really good actually is if the coach educator had come in at half-time and listened to how I deal with players at half-time, which at the time I wasn't too...
But more difficult with a women's team, just practically. So
I think also though, I think for me, if in the future it'd be something that I'd be very keen for something like that to actually happen, because I think that's a next important thing, just so someone can have a look at the structure of how I talk at halftime. And for me, getting the feedback as to did it seem effective or not,